my current dialysis center, they are not offering EPO and iron Venofer because they are saying SHA does not cater for that, because SHA did not, their exact words, SHA did not look at the economic part, the escalation of the economy. They didn't look at that, so they're not providing that. So every week I'm using 1,600 to buy for myself the Venofer and the EPO injection. When I was doing my NH, I was doing my journey during NHIF. I have been admitted to Kenyatta National Hospital 3 times, and all those 3 times, NHIF paid everything. My first bill, I remember very well, was 55,000, and NHIF paid. My second bill was 80,000, and they paid. And my third bill was about 40,000, and NHIF paid everything.
$1 billion question that I would want to ask on behalf of Salome Wanja Kamau, that kidney patient who has just spoken there, is to the Kenya Kwanza administration. The NHIF was in place, was established in 1966. By the time we were occasioning a transition to SHA and SHIF, that kitty was 58 years old. Do you want to tell the country that when we moved from NHIF to SHA, we moved with 0 shillings? Ladies and gentlemen, in this podcast, we are going to look at the latest development, and we are going to break down the facts and the figures that really matter for the public to get to understand. Was a SHA a special purpose vehicle for fellows to enrich themselves, or it was a vehicle that was going to help the country achieve universal health coverage that former President Uhuru Kenyatta started? Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our videos. That video I've just played is quite heartbreaking. Around 9 p.m., this letter was dispatched in media houses and at prime time news that the Social Health Authority CEO, Wachira, Elijah Wachira, had been sent on compulsory leave for the next 30 days amidst the uproar on the state of the SHA. And I saw that breaking news in Citizen TV. Citizen TV only reported, and if you read that letter, it's only talking about professional misconduct. But the KTN News, the Standard team, have broken it down and are saying that the CEO is being accused of some 1.6 billion fund fraud at the center of it. And also, he's being accused of bungling the transition from NHIF to SHA. I want you to listen to this story.
Elijah Wachira has hardly been in office for 1 year, and already he's faced with queries regarding expenditures undertaken by the Social Health Authority that is yet to mark 2 months since it was rolled out. He's said to have incurred an expenditure of about 1.6 billion shillings without reference to the directives from the stakeholders, including the board. Wachira, who denied that his staff incurred this expenditure that was to be part of close to 10 billion shillings paid by SHA to facilities as money owed by the now defunct NHIF, faced the board in a meeting that lasted about 3 hours. At the end of it, they suspended him. Robert Ingasira, the Director of Financial Services, has now taken over. Wachira is also accused of bungling the transition from NHIF to SHA. Wachira is also accused of failure to properly plan for the transition from NHIF to SHA. The head of public service about a fortnight ago was forced to pay an impromptu visit at the SHA headquarters, where he had a meeting with the staff to quell the simmering tension. The staff are apprehensive over their jobs after NHIF folded up. The manner in which the transition has been handled also came to question, especially touching on the implementation of directives from the court. The authorities board that has been meeting for better part of Tuesday has established Wachira has been taking actions that went against the authorities' efforts to clear debts owed by the NHIF that SHA succeeded to hospitals.
And I cannot stand here to defend a fraud. I strongly believe that strong grounds that the former CEO, now that CEO was involved in such a scandal, need to be pursued. But I want to speak to Wanjiku down there. The truth of the matter, what you should also be careful about, this transition did not start in the last 3 months. The CEO who has been sent on compulsory leave was appointed 3 months ago. This transition started last year in 2023, October. And the move of sending someone on compulsory leave, while it serves the purpose of setting place for investigation to happen, but the public must be wary of a statecraft. And this is what I'm saying. After realizing the public outcry on SHA, the state found a strategy that they must get someone to carry the burden. The problem of SHA and SHIF cannot be narrowed to the 1.6 fraud, why that CEO is going home. Of course, that CEO needs to be. That case is another case. But Wanjiku should not see the breaking news in Citizen TV and say, oh, Wachira ndiye amefanya sasa hii mambo haikuwa inaendelea, sasa ametoka. Because the president will emerge tomorrow and tell you that we've made changes at that, and we realized there was a problem, there was even a scandal there, and that's why things were not going on. And that is why I want to take time so that we break down and understand the technicalities that has bedeviled that transition. One man has been told, the country has been told that that is the man that made transition very difficult. But if you look at the wider picture, you are going to see the big picture. That SHA have had issues. And the president and the people that support Kenya Kwanza administration, policies of Kenya Kwanza administration, they have been so defensive. And you will see sound bites of president saying, this transition cannot be easy, it cannot be smooth. Every transition has issues. There have been a comfort, safe net created, but every transition had issues. So members of the public should just bear us. Well, remember, this is a matter of life and death.
And there's a lot of questions being asked about this migration from NHIF to SHA. And I would like to state here that as a Council of Governors, we have had conversations with the national government with regards to SHA. And the SHA train has left the station. There might be teething problems, but surely we are not to NHIF. I can tell you that, and who is the Vice Chair of the Health Committee, I can tell you that SHA, SHIF, is the universal health coverage, is our pathway to universal health coverage, as we have sought over all these years. And I can tell you without contradiction that once SHA and SHIF, once this has come out of this phase of transition, we will have a system superior to what we had with NHIF.
So questions emerged. The truth here is that transition was mismanaged. You need to also get this. The members of parliament across the political spectrum have been speaking in one voice and saying, after Lilian Gogo told off the president that there is a problem, the government have been throwing numbers left, right, and center. I don't know how many million people have been registered, and we've been selling. In fact, even us, I did a video and I told you the way one of our relatives is going to be paid part of bill yake nenda kulipwa. We have been selling the benefits of SHA, the three components: the critical health, the SHA, the SHIF, the three components. So we've been selling the low-hanging fruits in SHA. But remember, they cannot be harvested if that system, if that transition is not happening. And for how long should that transition happen? How many people? If it has to be chaotic as it is, then if it takes 6 months, how many people will die within 6 months if they cannot access medical services because of that transition? Listen to your MPs.
One of the things that I can indeed say is that the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So it is actually too early to even say, we'd be cheating ourselves to say that here are the benefits. We don't know the benefit yet. If you are an excellent person at monitoring and evaluation, you cannot say within a month that we can see the benefits. So yes, we will probably see the benefits much later. However, we can see photos of people who are in hospitals who are struggling to access health care. Those with renal issues, those who are cancer patients. And Mr. Speaker, even though I know Honorable Ichungwa is actually castigating a lot of the members who he says are pushing propaganda, he's saying one. I don't know who that is, since I'm not too sure about, I'm not very keen on the politics of the mountain. But Mr. Speaker, what I want to say is that we need to acknowledge that there are very serious transition issues
on matters to do with the denial to access to health. I went to 2 hospitals that are mission run, 1 public referral hospital and 1 level 2 hospital. And I interacted with the patients and I gathered there is a big problem. Whereas we sat here, like Majority Leader says, and we passed these laws, personally I did not pass them because I had issues with one of them. We must appreciate that you don't bring a new law and rush to implement the law without involving the stakeholders. When I went to those hospitals, Mr. Speaker, one of the hospitals told me and confessed to me that they are owed over 200 million by the former NHIF. And therefore they have a problem. How do you tell me to continue treating patients under a new program and you've not sorted my previous debts? And I know this is the problem. Most hospitals, by the way, the ones that are rejecting patients, they are rejecting patients because they feel that honestly, somebody needed to come out very clearly and tell them, we are migrating. But are we migrating with your debts?
And this tells you why I am holding a firm position. The compulsory leave of the CEO is quite in order in respect to that 1.5 fraud case. But I don't buy, and the members of the public should be wary to understand that the problem at the SHA transition is not like if that gentleman who is going home, if that 1.6 billion is brought to SHA today, then the problem will be solved. It is not it. There was a problem at transition. That is where the problem is. And without much ado, I want us to go there. I want you to look at it. Because what Wanjiku is being told is that huyu mwenye ametolewa, huyu sasa ndiye amefanya hii kitu haikuwa inaendelea. That is far from the truth. The transition of SHA started with the first problem, funding. Funding, staffing, and communication. I want you to listen to this story by Sam Gitu.
And so as the government rolls out on Tuesday next week, SHA is starting off with a budget gap of 119 billion shillings, with no details how much SHIF will raise given the low uptake by registration. The means testing instrument that was meant to determine how much households without formal employment were going to contribute is not ready, with details that it has serious errors that overstate how much families should pay. The desired integrated healthcare information technology system is also not ready. The Social Health Authority has no employees, with the law explicit that NHIF staff can only be enlisted through a competitive recruitment process. Just last week, President William Ruto caused changes in the Social Health Authority, dropping Dr. Timothy Olweny, who had steered the preparatory phase since November 2023. In his place, Dr. Abdi Mohammed, who had been a member of the board, was elevated to chairmanship. Dr. Olweny is now the board chair at the National Cancer Institute. The Ministry of Health says nearly 2 million Kenyans have registered or applied to be registered. The target is 50 million Kenyans or 12 million households.
So from there you can see from where it's starting. And that is why I started this podcast by asking, for the last 58 years tumekuwa na NHIF. With all the problems it imekuwa nazo, imekuwa. But we gave birth to a new baby, SHA, which is fine, even though to date the public did not get an answer as to why did we have to change the name from NHIF to SHA. What did we really have to abandon NHIF in total? And very elementary thinking is this: we abandon NHIF because we want to, the money that had been in that NHIF is going to be, the termites will come out of the woodwork to feast on that money. Because as much as we have SHA, tukichukua ile pesa tumekuwa na kwa NHIF tuweke kwa SHA in this transition to move, it will not be this chaotic as it is. But we started SHA on a clean slate, mpaka mtu nadhani it's only the names, ndio kama ulikuwa registered kwa NHIF ndio jina yako ndio inatolewa kwa NHIF inaletwa kwa SHA, lakini contributions zako, imagine you're starting afresh. You're starting afresh. Something is not adding up. So that is funding. The other issue is about communication and persuasion. And in fact, the communication on SHA is not just communication, it's supposed to be persuading the members of public. There is something that was said there in the second component ya hiyo pesa. Kama huwezi afford kulipa, utalipiwa. Alafu there is a 2.5%, 2.75% from those who are in formal job. Kama unapata salary yako, so already know they will take it from your gross income. It will just be calculated. Then there was a tool to measure how much people in the informal jobs earn, so that they can be told how much you can. There is a tool that will be used to measure, or rather, let me say, to evaluate, to value how much people in the informal sector, for example, the boda and the mama boga and those are the people, how much they get, so they can be told what they contribute. To date, that tool has never been developed. That tool has never been developed. Communication awareness has been a problem. I saw an MP, last week, I think it was Oscar Sudi, who was doing a roadshow in Kapseret, urging people to register with SHA. So, any register, you register fresh. Unaanza kulipa upya. So, zile zako, but then to be honest, I've been paying NHIF. Now the last time I was in the hospital, ikawa nimelazwa, was in 2020 during COVID. And that was during self-isolation, nikiwa KU. That is the last time nililala hospitali. These other ones, I normally, naenda to, and of course I normally go to private, nalipa cash, narudi na, just that. So, the dollar question is this. Communication and persuading the members of the public to register has been a problem. And from that bit, they started hawakuweka pesa hapo. Chronic Fund, they were supposed to put 50 billion, they had 4 billion. There was another one, they had 2 billion. Here it is idea. The second problem is this giant digital system. And this one, I also want you to listen to this part of the story.
And now details have emerged of plan to develop a new healthcare information management system under a consortium that will cost 104 billion shillings. The consortium comprises Safaricom Limited, Apero Limited, and Convergence Network Solution Limited. Details from the Registrar of Companies show that Apero Limited was registered on the 5th of July, several months after the search for a system began.
Na hii Apero ni kampuni ambaye imesajiliwa kule Warabuni, Dubai, kama Abu Dhabi. Kusema kwamba imekuwa registered hapa Kenya ni kwamba baada hiyo kama kampuni inataka kuendelea kufanya biashara hapa Kenya kulingana na sheria zetu za kusajili makampuni ni lazima pia wajiandikishe hapa Kenya.
In a statement, Safaricom Chief Executive Officer Peter Ndegwa indicated that the Integrated Healthcare Information Technology System, IHTS, would cost 104 billion shillings, recoverable over a period of 10 years.
Convergence ni kampuni hapa Kenya na ni sisi wa Kenya hapa ambaye pia Safaricom waliona kwamba kwa sababu ile kazi wanafanya waje pamoja wafanye kazi hiyo, kwa sababu hawangeweza kufanya, Safaricom hawangeweza kufanya zile model zote, wangehitaji makampuni zingine wafanye pamoja.
Safaricom and the two companies are required to deliver healthcare information exchange, a system that will allow health facilities to share patient records. The consortium is required to develop and roll out standard-based integrated hospital management information system in partnership with the Ministry of Health and county governments. The consortium will also deliver technology to digitize the supply chain of health products that ensures visibility of both pharmaceutical and non-pharmaceutical products across the country. This is to enable traceability of medicine to patients. The consortium will then support training of public health officials on the system, support the project management, and be involved in the on-ground rollout of various technologies. Reports indicate that senior officials at some of the members of the consortium were opposed to venturing into the multi-billion shilling project due to the procurement process followed, while also being cautious that it's not a key competent area for the firms. National Assembly's health committees have so far been unable to access details of the deal or even the justification as to why it was secured through direct procurement.
Sometimes when you're procuring a service that has some challenges that cannot easily be found in the market, then you apply, and once permission has been granted for direct procurement, then you go through that method.
The Public Procurement and Disposal Act emphasizes preference for competitive bidding of services, limiting direct procurement to instances of when only the said supplier has the said goods or services, or maybe due to war, invasion, disorder, and other unique circumstances.
Now apparently, kuna mtu, I was just calculating here with my producer. Let me tell you. According to that story, 104 billion is, someone is going to pump 104 billion in terms of a loan, ama pesa yake anaenda kuinvest. This is where the likes of Adani comes in. Someone invests 104 billion for that integrated digital system to be used by the SHA, but with the agreement that within 10 years, he should be able to scoop that money back. I want you to calculate. So there's a question of, yeye ameweka 104 billion. Hiyo pesa yake ataipata aje? Ataipata from my contribution and your contribution. So just let me calculate. 104 billion is how many zeros? A billion has 9 zeros. So that is 104 billion. If you divide that by 10 years, is just do around 262 by 10. Just do an average of, let's say 260, not 262 by 10. So divide this by, not 262, 362, 62 days. 3,620 days, that is 10 years. It means every day, wale watu walitupatia ile digital infrastructure wakatulipisha 104 billion. Every day we give these people 28,729,291 shillings. Don't you realize? And so this begs the question. I know for sure that we are coming from a bad history where people used to do medical procedures that doesn't even cost 100,000. Then they balloon the figures because they know that NHIF will pay. I know we are coming from that culture, and it's very regrettable that it used to happen that way. And so this system is supposed to seal that loophole. However, is there a way? There was no any other way apart from this one. Because this one, I'm thinking that if this system has already been found, kama already shaekwa, which I guess not, it has not happened. So hata you ndio maana unaona the integration of health facilities has not been done because this system is not yet in place. And if this system is already in place, then we are already paying those fellows 28 million per day. Are we making surely is it really making sense? So the question of the procurement around that digital system is causing a problem. Then the third problem we've had, and that is what I'm saying, we cannot reduce this problem to that one CEO. Integration of health facilities, both private and public. There are some facilities that were owed debts by NHIF. Whether they are false debt or just debts Gucci man, or just Gucci debts, or just fake debts, it's another story. But then somewhere they don't know is watadai NHIF, the defunct NHIF, or the SHA is going to take over those debts and pay, and what is the plan? So because walikuwa wanadaiwa na hawajaambiwa kama SHA italipa, ndio maana walikuwa nakataa kuendelea kutibu patients because they already owed debts, but there is no framework on how those debts are going to be settled. Ladies and gentlemen, what was I saying in that analysis? What was I saying in this analysis? It is true that the CEO can be sent on compulsory leave based on that corruption scandal. But if you've been following the SHA in real sense, you'll understand that the problem is complex and it is not just about that CEO. Huyu CEO alikuja 3 months ago. Alikuja 3 months ago. Hii kitu ilianza last year, September 2023. So it's something that government has been going through. I know very, very for sure. There is some Wanjiku somewhere who kesho atamka asubuhi, ashike gazeti, aende kwa propaganda, aanze kusema, sasa ile SHA haikuwa inafanya kwa sababu yule CEO ndiye alikuwa na shida. It's true, it can be that way. I don't know that CEO. I'm not defending that man. But what the public must get wary of is the smoke screen. The CEO thing is a smoke screen. The problem has been this transition, even though he is an overseer of that transition. But if you look at it, yes, he is overseer. But Ebu, can he give us an answer? Why ile pesa yote imetoka Nigeria ilienda wapi? May God help us. Thank you.